Today we're diving into the epic realm of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom as we unveil the toughest and most jaw-dropping boss to the ones that just... So prepare yourself and let's get to the list. First on the list we have Moragia. Despite its cool appearance, Moragia is surprisingly the least challenging among all the regional phenomena bosses. The main purpose of his presence is to support players in adjusting and using Yunobo's ability. When players approach Dead Mountain with Yunobo, they'll be treated to a cutscene of a Moragia rising from that mountain crater. Since Moragia is obviously too high up for Link to reach, players will need to use the nearby Zonai Plain. The plane is fixed with 2 batteries, which means even if players only have 1 bar of the Zonai battery, Moragia can still be defeated. The boss fight is easy. Just take control of the plane and direct it towards Moragia while utilizing the A button to launch Yunobo at one of the heads. Link and Yunobo will face their biggest threat when the last head begins to unleash a meteor shower. Even so, they're easy to dodge, and taking a hit from one shouldn't cause the plane to crash. Each time a head is struck, Moragia loses a quarter of its HP, making the boss fight extremely easy. Colgera is an icy aerial version of a Molduga. It is a possible callback to the boss of Wind Temple in Wind Waker. Out of all the temple bosses, Colgera is the easiest to beat despite its intimidating size. Colgera is fought in 2 stages, but the goal is the same. Dive into the 3 rings that make up Colgera's body. A constant wind is blowing to keep Link in the air via paraglider, making it easier for him to fly high above Colgera and dive through a ring. And if by some chance players are struggling with diving through the rings, they can instead go under Colgera's body and shoot arrows at the beast core instead. Phase 2 of Colgera is a bit trickier as it will summon tornadoes that can toss Link around like a ragdoll. However, the strategy to defeat him is the same as Phase 1. Like Moragia, taking out on one ring will deplete a quarter of Colgera's HP, making it a swift boss fight once players got the hang of the strategy. The name Gohma is no doubt familiar to longtime fans of the Zelda franchise. Just like the Gohma in Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker, Marbled Gohma is what some refer to as an eyeball boss. It's completely covered in impenetrable rock, and hacking away at its body with a melee weapon will be futile. This is also the first temple boss fight where players absolutely need their respective stage health. Gohma can be slow moving, but it has the ground pound move that sends out a shockwave. It will also hurl a detonating clumps of marble rocks that can either be recalled or destroyed with Yunobo's ability. Players can also use Ascent to climb up onto the Gohma's head. But however, the best way to beat this monster is to use Yunobo to take out its legs. After 2 legs are destroyed, Gohma will be stunned. This is when Link needs to climb up near its eye and start attacking with a melee weapon. Once it reaches half health, Marbled Gohma will change up its strategy. It will trap Link in a wall of detonating marbled rock. To escape, use recall on one of the rocks or have Yunobo barrel into one. Marbled Gohma will also crawl on the ceiling during this phase, and shooting its eyes will cause it to fall down. Players will need Yunobo's ability to roll up the walls and into one of the legs. Once players got this strategy on pat, the rest is history. Sludge-Like is just like another like, only it spews sludge that significantly renders Link's movement. Like Marbled Gohma and Moragia, players will need to rely heavily on Sidot's ability to defeat this monster. Another way to clean up the mug is to use a splash fruit. Sludge-Like can be a rude wake call to those who aren't expecting it. This monster hits hard, and the only way to expose its core and damage it is to hit it with a blast of water. If Link gets stuck in the mug, the Sludge-Like won't hesitate to attack. Mucktorok may seem like a joke of a boss, but it's quite fast and can make for a very frustrating battle. It will start by hiding in sludge shape like a shark. It will then zoom around the battlefield and attack Link and Sidon with waves of sludge. Just like the Sludge-Like, players need to get rid of that muck first, so they can use Sidon's ability or Splash Fruit. What makes Mucktorok potentially challenging are two things: its speed, especially in Phase 2, and Sidon's AI. Players have expressed their shared annoyance at some of the Sage powers, and it will definitely come into play here when they absolutely need it. In Phase 2, the Mucktorok will start jumping around in the puddles of sludge to avoid Link. The best way to stop its movement is to stun it with an arrow or try to clear up the sludge. After completing all 4 temples, players then can go to Hyrule Castle to confront Ganondorf. Or so it seems. But Grid Link is a game of cat and mouse with Zelda, in which she summons hordes of monsters to fight Link anytime he catches up to her. When at last Link fights her in the Sanctum, he'll fight against Phantom Ganon instead of Ganondorf himself. Those that are used to fighting Gloom Spawn already know how to handle Phantom Ganon, and they will even have all 4 Sage avatars to help. The real challenge comes in Phase 2. During Phase 2, Link will have to fight 5 Phantom Ganon at once. Not only that, but one of the Phantom fields start to cover the entire room with gloom. If the avatars get stuck in the gloom, they will become immobilized. The best way to stop the gloom spreading is to climb up the stairs and jump down to enter the bullet time. Fire arrows at the Phantom Ganon summon the gloom, and that will stop it from spreading. It's also easier to try and defeat one Phantom Ganon at a time, as fighting all at once can be difficult and risky. If Mucktorok was a hassle, then Queen Gibdo is even worse. She may be fought before Phantom Ganon in Hyrule Castle, but she's arguably one of the most challenging boss fights in Tears of the Kingdom. Players will need to rely heavily on Reduced Lightning for this boss fight, or they will need plenty of Shock Fruit or Yellow Chuchu Jelly. Queen Gibdo's difficulty is because of everything that goes on in the boss fight. Phase 2 can get downright chaotic, especially if players are struggling with reduced AI. Queen Gibdo needs to be struck with lightning before she can be damaged. Once its body is white, players will want to hurry over and get in as many melee attacks as possible. This will cause it to collapse on the ground and will become more vulnerable with melee weapons. Queen Gibdo will awaken the 4 Gibdo nests surrounding the battlefield. She will also take to the air and spew acid at Link and Riju. The best thing to do is to get rid of the Gibdo's nests, but this is where players may have problems. Riju's lightning field needs to cover the entire nest before players can fire an arrow. What makes this worse is that Riju can be hit by one of the monsters or the queen itself, forcing players to repeat the process of charging the lightning. Queen Gibdo will also kick up sandstorms with her much like Colgera code, and if Riju or Link get hit, they will be thrown off their feet. Sea's Construct is the boss of the Spirit Temple, and players can't defeat it unless they're riding Miner's Construct. The road leading to the Spirit Temple allows players to fuse various Zona devices to the construct, and this boss fight can be punishing to those who neglect to do so. Players are incapable of harming the Sea's Construct unless they can knock it into the barbed wire surrounding the battlefield. What makes this difficult is the Miner's Construct's low speed. But fortunately, this is the only battle where players have to use constructs to win. In Phase 2, Sea's Construct will use Zona device to fly. It will then pelt Link with cannonballs and whatever else it has fused to its arms. Something that players will want to have fused to Miner's Construct is the cannon. This makes it easy to blast the construct out of the air and follow up with a melee attack. If players do not have a cannon or something else, then they will need to wait out the Sea's Construct's attack until it lands. And of course, the Demon King himself would be the most difficult boss in Tears of the Kingdom. He's fought in 3 phases, but it's the second phase that could make Link in trouble. Phase 1 is similar to Phantom Ganon battles, and Phase 3, while not easier, is not nearly as challenging as Phase 2. Tears of the Kingdom really wanted Ganondorf to feel like a final boss, and it's safe to say that they succeed. When Ganondorf HP is depleted in Phase 1, he'll tap into the power of Sonia's Secret Stone and his health bar will literally stretch across the screen. He'll get an increase in attack power and summon Phantom Ganons to help him. Hold down the fort long enough and the 5 Sage will come charging in to help. And there you have it! The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom does not disappoint when it comes to epic boss fights. From Moragia to Ganondorf, each encounter will leave you with a sense of accomplishment and awe-inspiring moments. Until next time and happy gaming!